that 5th episode, ReZero, was a lot of fun. We get the first real introduction of Capella, we get everything that's outside of the main cast, and the opening is still banger. But what if I tell you that that opening is a bit misleading? Hi, I'm Jokeball, and welcome to a video for the most misleading opening of all ReZero. For this video, we're going to analyze and point out every moment that's in the opening versus the actual episode and point out how much they got wrong and we've been falsely advertised. And I do want to preface this, I'm only pointing out moments that's in the opening that we have gotten misinformation and misled to. I am not gonna point out every references that's in the opening, because if we're going to point out references from the actual opening to the actual episode and compare them to the light novel, we're going to be here all day. So we're going to keep this short and point out only moments that we have gotten misled. So without further ado, let's check out the opening and let's see how it showed us versus the actual episode. Also, this video may contain heavy spoilers, so if you're an anime only watcher, I highly advise that you don't watch this video. Just a simple warning. Anyways, back to the video. The first accurate scene that we've gotten is Subaru walking with Beatrice. This actually happened in the first episode when Subaru gets seasick. However, which later transitions into Emilia sitting on the side of the castle. We never saw this part of the anime, however this foreshadows her as she will be the damsel of distress. Another misled scene that we have gotten in this opening is that both Otto and Garfield are traveling around the city together. This did not happen in the actual anime nor in the light novel. They traveled individually as separate characters, but not together, as shown in the anime. After a brief recap of season 2, we will now transition to a scene where Liliana sings in front of the crowd. While the Liliana did sing in the actual episode, where it takes place however, did not, as in the actual episode, she was singing in a park, and not near a bridge. And from here, this is where the anime starts to diverge, and I mean a lot. The very first major misleading scene is Garfield punching a dragon. Not once in the source material ever says that Garfield punched a dragon, let alone Capella. In fact, I don't remember Garfield ever fighting a dragon, so this is one big false advertisement right here. Another misleading scene is Wilhelm fighting the witch cultist. While the fight between Wilhelm and the female witch cultist did happen, there's two things that's wrong with this. Number one, the location where it's taking place. The fight takes place in the front of the city hall, not somewhere in the bridge of the city. That's one thing. And number two, Wilhelm did not do a spinning flip in the actual episode. So that spinning flip in the opening was just a misleading animation. Unless they're saving that for the second core. But by the time the second core arrives, it will be shown. So I don't think that's gonna happen. So we can count this scene as misleading. Oh my god, more!
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
This is yet another misleading scene. Recall did not do a jumping spinning attack in the air in neither episode 4 nor 5 or season 3. The fights are pretty much grounded as always. While Ricardo did fight the multi-armed cultist, however in the actual episode he fought with the help of Garfield instead of soloing, because this part in the opening was actually a direct reference of both the source materials of both light novel and web novel. In the web novel, Ricardo actually went ham against the multi-armed cultist to the point that he chopped off one of his arms. However, in the light novel version, Ricardo got heavily nerfed to the point that the multi-armed cultist beat his ass. I would love to see more Ricardo accent, but sadly we didn't get that. And White Fox, for the love of fucking God, prepare your souls, I swear to God! I want those feet! You always give us Capellas, now it's time to give us Ricardos, you fucking cowards! Another misleading scene from the opening is both Julius and Crouch fighting against both Gluttonies, which never happened in neither both the source material nor the actual episodes. However, if you look deeply, you start to notice something. Crouch is facing towards Roy, meanwhile Julius is facing towards Lai. I think this is hinting that we might get an anime only change. I think this is due to the fact of the story change. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me give you a little context. You see, when Tappei released the novel in Japan, he also released a side story booklet along with it, one of which is the Joshua Julius side story. More specifically, the Joshua Julius Catholic Encyclopedia. It tells a story of how Joshua, Julius's brother, got his name and memory eaten by Roy, giving Julius a reason why he should be worried and why he's not focused on the fight against Roy, which leading to his defeat and got his name eaten by Roy. While this gives Julius a reason why should he defeat Roy in both Arc 5 and Arc 6 and how his name got eaten by Roy, this gives Julius a purpose in the story in the future arc in the same season of Season 3. However, there's an issue with that, and that being Tappei completely retconned this story. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, in the recent Tenpatsu volume, Tenpatsu 11, aka the side story collection, Tappei has completely changed the story, being that instead of Roy taking Joshua's name and memory, it's Lai that takes Joshua's name and memory this time, thus changing the story altogether, all because Otsuka fucked up the art. Because of this change, it makes me wonder, will this affect the anime and the ending of Arc 5? I don't want to prolong this, so I'm going to save this question in the end of the video. Anyways, back to the misleads. Another misleading scene is that Priscilla fighting the witch cultist, which never actually happened in the source material. Other than the demon beast and Wrath, she never actually fought the witch cultists. Another misleading scene is Reinhardt fighting against Capella, which never actually happened in the source material because Reinhardt never met Capella face to face, so that's another misleading scene, unless we're going to get anime only change, which I highly doubt. The next to last misleading scene is Emilia fighting against Wrath. While the fight did actually happen, the place where they're fighting does not, because what they show in the opening was they're fighting in front of the gate. However, in the actual anime, they're fighting in the bell tower where a lot of stuff happens. The last misleading scene from the opening was Subaru about to save Emilia from Regulus. While Subaru did attempt to save Emilia, the location where it takes place again is not on the watchtower like in the opening. It happened, yet again, at the bell tower, where the actual anime showed. And that should conclude the misleading from the opening to the actual anime. Now you might be wondering, what about the retcon you just mentioned? Funny you should ask. If you're a novel reader, you probably know the ending of Arc 5, right? It was terrible. But with the recent retcon of the side story, Tappei changing who ate Joshua's memories and name, it leads down to having 3 theories. Theory number 1, changing battle plans. This is something that the anime can actually get away with. As I explained before, the one biggest change is that instead of Ricardo fighting solo against Kugan, it was both Ricardo and Garfield fighting against Kugan while Wilhelm fights Teresa solo, which is different from the light novel. This change could also apply to the anime, but instead of both Julius and Ricardo fighting Roy, both of them would instead be fighting Lai. Or another change, instead of Garfield fighting solo against Kugan in the second half of Arc 5, it would be both Garfield and Ricardo fighting against Kugan. While this could be a nice change, and I do wish that was a good change, however, if it was the former, it could be a interesting change, but at the same time, this also gives a big problem for this reason. And this is also leading to the second theory. Theory number 2, both Lai and Roy switch roles. If you guys know the ending of Arc 5, you will know that Julius gets his name eaten, thus forgotten by the world except for Subaru. However, if they go to switch roles, they go to have to revise the entire story, because both Julius and the Gluntonies played a huge role in the next arc. A huge spoiler warning for anime onlys for the ending of the next arc. Lai dies in the next arc, thus bringing back Rem, but Rem doesn't have her memories. So if they're going to go that route and change the entire story altogether, that means that Roy has to die and Lai has to be sealed, thus not making Rem awake for the next season, which is a huge risk on their part. It would be very risky for this change if they go to diverge from the source material. If both of those theories fail, then there is one more theory that they can try. However, this would be a huge risk taker, theory number 3, and this would be a huge ass decision if they have the balls to do it. Follow the Final Fantasy VII remake route and created an alternative timeline where both Julius and Ricardo defeat Roy. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, here's a little context. If you guys played the original Final Fantasy VII or watched or played the ending of Crisis Core, you will know that Zack died in the end of Crisis Core, thus passing the torch to the main character, Cloud Strife, which leads up to the events of the original Final Fantasy VII. However, in the remake, Final Fantasy Remake, they have made a mad decision to have Zack live, thus create a split timeline between the two events. Not only that, Roy is actually the weakest member of the Witch Cult and actually the weakest member of the Gluttony siblings, so it actually makes a lot of sense to have him defeated. I know that this decision will be the most divisive of the bunch, considering the fanbase, but in the grand scheme of things, it kind of makes the most sense out of them. Knowing the author, knowing his history of retcons, this would be the most top-paid decision that he'll ever make. Why? It's because if you don't know Tappei, here's a fun fact. Did you know that ReZero is an inspiration of Final Fantasy VII? More specifically, the cross-dressing scene? Yeah, he took inspiration from that. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you guys like my content, feel free to give a like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share the video. Anyways, this is Jokerboard. I see you later.